All right, I am so excited, and let's get started. I'm so excited to share this training with you all. Champion Pages, I think, is one of the coolest features that we have for Give Miami Day, and really one of the ways that you can bolster your campaign. So I have brought some really awesome people together and hope that you guys can learn from it all. And so let's jump right in. So of course, you know me. I'm Ruth Ramirez. I'm the Senior Director of Collaborative Philanthropy at the Miami Foundation, and I run Give Miami Day for the Miami Foundation. But I'm also happy to have Dr. Mark Snyder join us this morning. He is the Executive Director of True North Classical Academy Foundation. And then our partner from Neon One, Mary DeMar, who is going to be diving into some of the details and how-to for Champion Pages. So this is our crew for this morning, and our presenters. If you have any questions for them, specific questions, make sure you drop that name along with your question so we know who you're referring it to. And then you're putting in those questions into the Q&A feature right at the bottom of your screen. So that way they don't get lost in the chat, and we can make sure that we're answering those when we have the open Q&A at the end of our training this morning. Some key dates, and I usually drop these at the end of the presentations, but I want to make sure that we have time for Q&A and not have to go back and forth. So just making sure that you guys have this on your radar. You have nonprofit registration open until October 1st, so make sure that you have that ready to go. And then we're going to be continuing our trainings all the way through October 5th. So make sure you're going back to givemiamiday.org key dates training for those links. All of our trainings you can register in advance. And then we will upload our recordings on our site, our YouTube, and the Resource Center. Nonprofit registration, like I said, closes at midnight. You have the entire day to register. And if you have any questions, please make sure to hit up our team. Make sure you're booking your office meetings and taking advantage of connecting with Chelsea and myself. And then, of course, early giving will be launching on November 15th. So we're almost there. We have about 70 days left to Give Miami Day. If anyone is excited, let me know in the chat. I'm extremely excited. Give Miami Day is my favorite holiday in Miami-Dade, and it's super exciting to just celebrate this day of giving and generosity in our community. And then, of course, you get your dispersed gifts by the end of the calendar year. If you do have any questions, again, drop them in the Q&A feature about any of this or anything that we'll be covering in today's training. And of course, make sure you're sending out your save the dates, that you are, not only putting it on your calendar, but you're also adding it to your staff calendar, sending it out to your board and your donors, letting everyone know on social media that Give Miami Day is coming on November 18th, 2021. So let's dive into the agenda, and really quick, want to tell you what we're going to be up to today. We're going to be doing a fireside chat with Dr. Mark Snyder, who is the Executive Director of True North Classical Academy Foundation. And then we're going to dive deep into the Fundraising Champion Pages, or P2P, as they're also called, and how to create templates with Mary DeMar. So these things, we had them last year. We had Champion Pages last year. They're also known as Fundraisers, also known as peer-to-peer. So we're going to be learning a little bit of technicalities and some really cool ways to set things up on the back end. So if you have your pen and paper, grab that. Make sure that you have your note, you're taking notes. And of course, we're going to be recording this so you can follow up on any of the information that you want to review. And then we'll dive into some open Q&A like we always do in our trainings. And that way you can ask Mary or Mark any of the questions that you are so dying to ask. So let's get started. It's my pleasure to introduce Dr. Mark Snyder to you. He is the founding headmaster of True North Academy. He served in this capacity. He served for 5 years before moving into his current role of Executive Director of True North Classical Academy's Foundation. Under his leadership, True North rose to a top 1% school in the state of Florida on state mandated testing and is recognized as one of the most premier classical charter schools in the nation. In leading True North's first participation in Give Miami Day last year, True North ranked 17th in dollars raised overall, 8th in total dollars raised from education category, and 2 in the unique individual donations, with a total of 1,150 unique donations. That's huge. And this is why I've invited him to join us today. We're going to have this conversation, but I want you to hear from Mark himself and really letting him tell us a bit about his nonprofit, what True North is all about, and just how they were able to successfully launch a champion page campaign with all of his constituents and how they were able to be successful with that. So Mark, I think you are going to be joining me. There you are. Perfect.
All right. All right. Well, thank you, Ruth, so much. Thank you for that introduction. And welcome everyone to this webinar. And hopefully I can offer some insight into our successes with Give Miami Day last year. As Ruth mentioned, it was our first participation in Give Miami Day. And to be quite honest, last year I was kind of making things up as I went along. I actually connected with Ruth before Give Miami Day, and she provided me with some excellent guidance on how to run a successful campaign. And so just to give you guys a little bit of context into True North, True North is, as Ruth mentioned, a classical academy located in Miami, Florida, started back in 2015 with one school, K through 5, 189 students. And now 6 years later, we have 5 campuses, 2 early learning centers, and 3 campuses, 3 charter campuses, 2 that are K through 5, and 1 that is first grade through 11th grade with about 1,400 students. And so we have been quite successful academically and also in building the character of our students, which is first and foremost what we focus on. And so just to give you guys a little bit of background again in terms of the founding vision of the school, Dennis Baleka was the father of our founder, Mike Baleka, who had a vision to create a school that was built on character and virtue. And so regardless of really how much money we raise, academically, how successful our students are, we believe at True North that character is the most important thing that we can develop in our students. And so that is first and foremost our focus at True North. All right, next slide. At True North, our school is a classical school rooted in the liberal arts. And so our focus is on great books and great texts of Western civilization. And so we emphasize with our students the pursuit of objective truth, beauty, and goodness, and dive into some of the great books that you see there on the screen, left-hand side, Aristotle, Tolstoy, de Tocqueville, you name it, our students are diving into these texts in Socratic seminar, having great conversation around some key traditional texts that have spanned Western civilization. Okay, next slide. And so a little bit, again, about our successes. We do believe in placing the emphasis on the love of learning, the joy of learning, lifelong learning, and believe that when the emphasis is placed on good and noble things, the pursuit of truth, beauty, and goodness, and all these things that are really premised behind a classical education academically, success is just are a byproduct of that. And so since the very beginning of our school, in terms of state mandated testing, we scored in the top 1% of Florida out of 3,000 public schools on state mandated testing. Year 1 have maintained that status all 6 years of our school's existence. Most recently last year, during a COVID year, while many students were at home learning, we had our students at school in person for the most part learning.
Oh, I think we may have lost Mark there for a moment. So I think Mark has been having some technical issues, and it is not a Zoom meeting unless our speakers follow up.
By the end of the year, we had 98% of our students in person and learning, and on.
Okay, let's see. Let's give it another moment. I think his internet's sort of coming in and out.
All right, sorry about that. I kind of dropped off. All right, so let's go ahead and let me just dive into Give Miami Day. For us, last year, I surrounded myself with a team of 2 people, so it was myself and 2 others, and we brainstormed, the theme for us launching Give Miami Day. And so we settled upon really two themes. Our main theme was Titan. Titan is our mascot, True North Classical Academy Titans. Titan 25 plus Tell 5. And the idea behind that was we really wanted engagement of our families. We wanted as many participants as possible, as many of our families to participate on this day. And so we figured $25 is a reasonable ask for our families. All of our families could somehow scrounge up $25. And then in addition, tell 5 others to also donate $25. So in total, the ask was $150. And we continue to push this theme of Titan 25 plus Tell 5. And then also another theme was 600 strong. At the time, we had 600 families. And again, really kind of push this idea of getting everyone to participate. And so it wasn't so much, the dollar raised goal as it was participation and engagement for us at True North.
That is totally cool that you thought about getting your entire community of parents involved rather than a certain amount and letting the amount kind of come in on its own.
Correct. Yeah, that was the idea. Is we wanted it to be a party at our school, right? I mean, we wanted just everyone to feel that they were a part of this day, and then the dollar amount would be really a byproduct of the engagement, and so and it was, and we ended up raising quite a bit of money, because of the engagement. But our focus was engagement. We had over 80% of our families participate in Give Miami Day, which is absolutely incredible.
That is incredible. I think that is also really great, the kind of branding and messaging that you were able to share with your families. It wasn't a big ask, just donate $25. I think sometimes you can go through a drive-through and spend $25 for their families. So $25 sure. And then Tell 5, right? So who best to champion your cause? Who best to talk about your nonprofit? Then, the very people who are benefiting from it and sharing it out. And so as you're listening, to some of the stats that we're going to dive into that Mark is going to share, think about your audience and how you can message some of this to them, and how you can get them to leverage. And that's really the benefit in the true magic of champion pages, because you have your champions who are now not only donating to you, but then also multiplying exponentially those who will be supporting your cause day of Give Miami Day leading up to it. So let's go over to the next slide, because I'm eager to share some of these amazing stats you guys had for Give Miami Day, Mark.
Sure. No, and really, it's quite impressive to see what we did again. Our first go around with Give Miami Day, and so our champion pages were key. We had 85 champion pages. I launched a webinar with all of our families. Right when Give Miami Day, when those champion pages were opening up. And just got word out that we wanted these champion pages created, and our families rose up to the plate, creating those champion pages and really being the voice piece for what we were trying to do at True North. We were able to, as Ruth mentioned, bring in over $100,000 just via our champion pages. The number of donations through champion pages was over 900, and in total, we actually had one champion page that brought in close to $13,000, and our total raise for that day was almost $150,000. Again, most of it through those champion pages. So your parents, they are definitely your biggest advocates. That at your if you're a school or whoever is in your network, whoever you have as your constituents, get them to be your voice piece. And so that for us, those champion pages were key. Our parents were not bashful about, asking for money.
That's right. And we're not all schools. I did do fundraising at a school before joining the Miami Foundation. You're a fundraiser at a school. But if you don't have parents, don't think about, just,
That's
I don't
right.
have parents. Consider your donors. Those are who
Correct.
have already either come into your doors, volunteer. Your volunteers are already dedicating their time, their talent, and now their treasure. And one of the benefits about this sort of concept of the 25 and 5 is also very small. It's a small ask. And so a lot of people, the beauty of Give Miami Day is that it brings a lot of people together and shows that anyone can be a philanthropist. Anyone can really create impact. And I mean, this is why I wanted Mark to share his story with you all, because the movement, if you see, total donations were 1,150 and 923 of those came through champion pages. So it can really make your campaign. It can really create momentum and success for your campaign. So let's see. Right, Mark?
No, absolutely. I mean, I think those champion pages are key. Really, it became like this exponential thing for us. It was this snowball effect for us by asking our parents to, donate 25, but then also to tell 5 and really get word out through these champion pages. It just snowballed for us. And so, people started to not only ask others to donate, but those who were asked, they in turn asked others to donate. And on that day, it was incredible. I mean, our power hour, which I think was from like 11 to 12, and it was like sitting in Vegas and just watching the, like the slot numbers when you jackpot just go up. It was intense. It was wonderful. It was just a neat experience. But those are our final Give Miami Day stats there. $145,000 raise, 1,150 unique individual donors, which was only number 2 to the Children's Movement in Miami, which is an organization that's a powerhouse in the philanthropy world, has been around for years. They actually just beat us out like in the closing minutes of Give Miami Day. And so again, just to reiterate those stats, for a first-time participant, number 17 out of 900 organizations, number 8 out of 300 educational and youth organizations, and then again, number 2 in unique individual donors for a first-time participant. Impressive. And that just goes to say that really anybody can do it when you put your mind to it, you tap on your champions and you get word out through them. It's, the sky's the limit.
That's right. That's right. And I mean, coming in second place to Dave Lawrence, who is a staple and a beacon in our community, is not a bad position to be in. But yes, I think that this is, again, the stats are just really showing the capacity. And so I want to kind of think about it a little bit. If you don't have 800 families, 600 families, you can still multiply this. So if I share the story about KIP Miami, what we did with our donors, we had about 11 champion pages, but really had them leverage their network. So just think about not so much the quantity of how many people you do or don't have, but just leveraging those that you do have, because that one champion page can really bring in $12,000, $20,000, depending on how they're really moving and leveraging their network. And so this is really about getting the entire community mobilized in Give Miami Day, getting people educated on what Give Miami Day is. Last year, we had over 33,000 unique donors participate in Give Miami Day. That means 33,000 of our peers in our community were generously donating to our nonprofits who are continuously doing this work. You're always doing this work. And so we want to make sure that as many people know about you and your peers. And so if there's an opportunity for you to collaborate during these kind of campaigns with the other peers that are maybe in a different power hour, like I've shared in the past, do that. And like Mark said, during the power hours, they were basically seeing parents come in and donating at that time. So was it something specific that you did for them to then really dedicate their gift during the power hour, Mark?
Yeah, and absolutely. So we focused all of our marketing and reach outs to this power hour. So we were just very clear to our parents and stakeholders that, the power hour was the time to give. And so just through social media, and just, putting out emails and just various, campaigning strategies, we were very visible and clear that that was the time to give. We were giving out these little cards the day of Give Miami Day as our parents drove on campus to drop off their kids with a QR code to the Give Miami Day site, to our site where they can donate. And our parents would say to me, as they got the card for me, they would say, we're waiting for the power hour, we're waiting for 11 o'clock. I mean, so I knew that the messaging of that had gotten out. And so that's what we just continue to hammer to our parents.
That's wonderful. And that's so key. Continuing and consistently sharing the messaging. So don't feel like you're barraging or kind of like giving too much information or being too repetitive. A lot of our donors are also getting information from other nonprofits. So just make sure you're standing out with something like Titan 25 and 5, and making sure that you're letting your constituents in your community know about what it is that you're doing with champion pages. Mark, I appreciate your time. Thank you so much for sharing this with us today. I'm just so excited to see what you're going to be doing in Give Miami Day this year. Do you have a big goal that you want to hit this year?
Well, our goal is definitely to be #1 in unique individual donors, to beat out the children's movement. That's our #1 goal. And then whatever the dollars are after that, that's fine. But that's our goal.
That's fantastic. I definitely will be watching like I did last year. I was always filtering for our education and youth category and seeing where you were with unique donations, because I was really excited for what you were doing. And so I will be doing the same this year. So awesome. Thank you again for sharing with this. Now let's pivot over to Mary DeMar. Thank you so much. Let's pivot over to Mary DeMar, who's going to be doing a deep dive in fundraising champion pages and templates. Really excited to have these features shared with you all today. We're going to be learning about our champion pages is how we call it, but within the actual system that we use, they're known as fundraisers, and also in the fundraising world, they're known as peer-to-peer. So Mary DeMar is with me on one. She is our project manager and is going to be sharing her wisdom on how to get these up and running. So Mary, the screen is yours.
Awesome. Thank you, Ruth. Appreciate the introduction. And thank you, Mark, for sharing your story. It's super inspirational to hear about that, especially for your first year.
Yeah, no, that was great. Thank you.
Okay, can everyone see my screen okay?
Yes.
Perfect. All right, so today I'm going to provide you with a tutorial on how to use the Give Miami Day platform for your peer-to-peer fundraising efforts. So just one note, so the PowerPoint that I'll be sharing today is intended to be kind of a supplemental training piece. So we'll definitely share that with you after the webinar today. And so a couple things in terms of what we're going to go over today. So I'll be sharing peer-to-peer fundraising and focusing on two perspectives. So primarily first, the perspective of you as a nonprofit organization and how you can utilize the platform. And I'll also share with you how your fundraisers or your individual supporters can create their own pages. So just kind of keep that in mind as we go through today. And then, so what is peer-to-peer fundraising? So peer-to-peer fundraising is a great way for you and your supporters to expand your network and online fundraising efforts for Give Miami Day. Okay, great. So what does that mean? So specifically, the tools that we're going to go through today are how you can kick off and manage your peer-to-peer fundraising efforts. So fundraising pages. So you've heard Mark and Ruth refer to the champion pages before. So this is the same thing that we're talking about. So champion pages are fundraising pages created by individuals to raise money for a nonprofit. And so again, those were used kind of exclusively last year. And so now we're starting to refer more to champion pages as fundraising pages. But the new feature for this year that we want to go over is that now your nonprofit organization can create your own fundraising pages. So a few of examples of how you might leverage this functionality. If you have a specific fundraising need, say you have a new program or initiative that you're kicking off or a capital campaign, creating a fundraising page is a great way to promote that specific need. Also, say you want to gather a board of directors in a single peer-to-peer fundraising page, that would be a great way to gather them in one page and allow them to reach out to their network for support, say if they have an annual goal that they want to raise money for. And also just in general, allowing your biggest fans and your supporters to raise money on your organization's behalf. And then fundraising templates. This is also a new feature for 2021 this year. And fundraising templates are simply pre-configured templates that your organization can create. So those can be preloaded with details, with branding, your imagery, messaging, and then easily sent out to your network, to your family and friends, so they can start raising money faster. So these are a good tool, a good kind of current turnkey solution for supporters that might be hesitant to create their own fundraising page. So you're really just enabling them to create that easily without having to do much. So we'll go over these specific tools and how you can utilize these in the Give Miami Day platform. Okay, so first thing I want to demonstrate for you is how you can log into Raise, which is within the Give Miami Day platform. A couple notes here. You, as a nonprofit, have access to 2 applications for Give Miami Day. The Neon Giving Days platform, which is what we refer to as the Give Miami Day platform, and then Neon Raise. So again, Neon Raise is the application that allows you to manage your peer-to-peer fundraising efforts. So the good news is, as a nonprofit, it's easy to log into both of those at the same time with the same credentials. So we'll walk through a demo here. So first, you just want to navigate to the Give Miami Day website. And then in the upper right here, there's the login. So you want to hover over this login icon and then select nonprofit. So from here, you want to log in as a nonprofit. So I'll click login and then go ahead and enter my credentials. And then as you can see here, there's a forgot your password button if you don't recall your credentials. And that will send you an email. Okay, so once we log in to the Give Miami Day platform, we're taken to this main dashboard here. So this is your Give Miami Day performance dashboard. So this is relating to most things regarding registration for the Give Miami Day event itself. Notice on the right here, this is the status icon. So this is going to indicate what process your organization might be in for registration. So for this test organization here, we can see that this is approved and published. A couple other widgets and helpful things here, important event dates. So this is going to include trainings, other dates you want to be aware of. As you can see, we have the presentation for today in here. And then the new features section here. So this has your kind of call to action for how you can log into Raise, as well as any kind of new features that you want to be aware of. One thing I do want to specifically point out is the export fundraising page info here. So this is actually how you can export out any list of previous champion pages from the prior year if you want to see those or access those. So that's a kind of quick button here for you to do that. And then, so for today, we want to kind of primarily focus on the peer-to-peer fundraising efforts. So to do that, we're going to log into Raise. So again, the way you can get to Raise here from that main Go to Neon Raise call to action button. Also in the upper right, if you notice this waffle icon, as we call it, this 9-digit icon here, this allows you to navigate in between the different applications. So anytime you're logged in, you can easily get back to one of these. So let's go ahead and go to Neon Raise here. So once we go to Neon Raise, so you'll see we have, again, another dashboard here. So this is primarily going to contain some data visualization for your fundraising efforts. And then you can go directly into View My Gives Day campaign here. Also, you can navigate there from the main option here at the top. So going into My Giving Day campaign, this is where you manage your fundraising efforts, your peer-to-peer fundraising. So specifically underneath peer-to-peer here. So we have fundraising pages and templates. So I'm going to walk through how to create each of those. So if we go to fundraising pages, so here I mentioned the new feature for 2021 is the ability for you as a nonprofit organization to create your own fundraising page. So here is where you will also see all of the fundraising pages created for your organization once those are created. And so you'll be able to see others who have created those. And then if you want to create your own, I created an example here as a fundraising page, maybe for a specific cause or need. So let's go into creating a new fundraising page, and I'll show you kind of the data entry perspective, what it looks like to do this. So we can click Create Fundraising Page. And then, so you'll see here on the left, these are the fields information that you want to fill out to personalize your fundraising page. And on the right, this is kind of the live preview of what the fundraising page is going to look like. So it's easy to see as you're adding in details exactly what this is going to look like. So I'll put in a goal here. So this is required as a kind of best practice for fundraising to have something to work towards. Oh, it looks like this is past the character limit here, but you'll notice this defaults to join me in supporting, and then it's going to have the name of your organization, but this is always customizable. Encourage that. And then here you can enter a hero image or a video. So that's going to be the main kind of image on the fundraising page. So we can select add image here. You can choose something that you have saved. Let's see if I have maybe an example here. So when you add an image, you can easily crop this if you need to, which is kind of helpful. So if I want to zoom in here and move this around, you can do that and see that live preview. And once I select update, then you'll immediately see that image displayed here. And then kind of last thing you want to fill out down at the bottom is the fundraising story. So this is just the message for this fundraising page. And then finally, you can save as a draft or save and publish. So if I select save and publish, that's going to go ahead and create the fundraising page, and then that will be immediately available online for you to see, for you to share out, etc. And so that's a fundraising page. We'll kind of take some questions at the end, but the other thing I want to show you underneath the peer-to-peer fundraising and raise is how to create and utilize templates. So templates are, as I mentioned before, they're a pre-configured fundraising page that allows you to send this out to your supporters so they can easily create their own page. So if I select create template, you can see here the creation and data entry for a template is almost the same as a fundraising page. So you just want to enter these details, the fundraising title, goal, and then fundraising story. So when your supporters or someone receives this template, all they need to do is click or follow the link in their email, and they still have the ability to personalize this themselves and then create and publish their page. So the only other thing here to show you is once you fill this out, add your imagery, etc., and save the template. Oh. Then when you're ready to send this out, there's this action icon here, and you can click share. And so here is where you can put in your recipient's email. So this could be a copy and pasted list from wherever, and this just needs to be separated by a comma here. So that's how you can create a fundraising template. All right, so let's go back into my PowerPoint here. So we walked through how you can log into Raise. This has some supplemental information about the dashboard here. I kind of pointed out how you can access those champion pages historically. And then from the main Give Miami Day dashboard, logging into Raise, again, that call to action button or the action icon here that allows you to navigate between the two applications. And then the Raise dashboard here, this has an example of True North's dashboard here, so you can kind of see some examples of those widgets at the bottom and key metrics. Okay, creating the P2P fundraising page. So we walked through that. This just has some supplemental information for you if you want to refer to this again in the future. Creating the fundraising page. This has some other examples here. How you save the fundraising page. I put in some information too on the image specifications, PNG or JPEG. This will automatically resize, but you do have the ability to crop that as I illustrated. And then sharing the fundraising page. So that's pretty much it for creating the fundraising page as a nonprofit. And then same thing for the template here, just has some supplemental information for how you might utilize this. Oh, one piece I wanted to kind of include from our Neon Spring Giving Days, we had some kind of statistics of the top 10 organizations that had the most fundraising pages created, and how those top 10 organizations, they only used one template. So there's just kind of a point or an example of how you really don't need many templates, for example, to be successful with sending these out to your supporters. And then, yeah, creating the fundraising template here. So this just has a kind of tutorial you can use in the future. Okay. All right, so kind of the last thing I wanted to walk through before we go into some Q&A here is how your individual supporters, your fundraisers, can create their own fundraising page. So up until now, we've gone through the perspective of you as a nonprofit organization and how you can use these tools for Give Miami Day. But these are the specific instructions for a donor or a volunteer when they want to create their own fundraising page, and you're providing them with those instructions. So this is very simple. So you can direct our donors to go directly to the Give Miami Day website, or you can also share your organization's profile. So either or, so if we follow True North Foundation here, so this takes us directly to the organization profile. On every nonprofit organization profile, you'll see the fundraise button here. So this is the call to action for your individual supporters, donors to create their own fundraising page on the front end. So once I click fundraise, you'll notice this screen again here, that the process is almost exactly the same to create this fundraising page, putting in title, goal, video, story. And then when someone clicks save and publish, they're going to go through creating their raise profile, which then allows them to save the fundraising page and then receive the same call to actions for how to share that among their family and friends. So again, that's just kind of a quick overview of how you can direct your supporters to send that out. And then, yeah, so other than sharing the fundraiser, I included some information on additional resources. So I know this is a lot for, you know, everything that you have to do as a nonprofit organization for Give Miami Day, but luckily you have a lot of resources available to you, specifically from the NEON side. So one thing you'll notice, actually I can point out to you, anytime that you as a nonprofit are logged into Raise or the Give Miami Day platform, you'll see this support icon here in the lower right, this blue button. This allows you to create a support ticket that goes to our help desk. We can help if you have technical issues, if you have questions on strategy or how to do something. So we're always available to offer that support. And then specifically also, we have a support center. So this has some supplemental information on ideas for fundraising, how to launch a peer-to-peer campaign, some technical guides on creating a template, kind of what we went over today, but also just other ideas in general. So this is available for everyone to access in the support center. And then also specifically for fundraisers, so for your individual donors. So they will also have access to a support center that has some ideas for fundraising and resources, as well as the support button. So anytime a donor is creating a fundraising page, they can access that as well if they have trouble with anything or if they need help, and we'll reach out to them via ticket to get any issues resolved. So that's about it from my side. I'll turn it back over to you, Ruth, for questions or anything else we want to go over.
I am figuring out my screen sharing. One moment.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Wonderful. So let's get going and back into, let me make sure that you all can see my screen. Can you see my screen?
Not yet.
Not yet. I have a million screens up. Okay. Yes, perfect. Sorry about that, everyone. All right. Now, can you see my screen? Perfect.
Yep.
Okay. So I do see a few Q&As coming in. So make sure that you're dropping these in here. And I do think that you answered some of these already, Mary, but want to make sure that we cover some of these. And I know that you mentioned, before I forget, I actually have a question for you. I know that you mentioned the support center. Is that the support center that we have that's basically like a full Q&A that is available for our donor profits that exists as a Neon One feature?
Correct, yes. So the support center contains guides and information, but the support widget button is how you get in contact with our team for specific questions or help. Oh, sorry, I think you maybe froze, Ruth.
Screen, and you will be able to connect with one of the Neon One platform teammates who supports our campaign, and make sure that you can get your questions answered there. They'll be able to respond within 24 to 48 hours. So let's dive into Q&A, and I apologize if my internet is a little unstable, so if I cut out, I will be right back. But we have just over 15 minutes to make sure to answer these questions. So right at the very top, can we make a different templates for different groups of donors, i.e. board members, staff, volunteers, donors, etc.? And I think you did answer this.
Yep. Yeah, to confirm, you can absolutely make different templates for different groups. You don't need to. That kind of strategy is up to you. One case use that might be an example is if you are a school or a type of foundation. We've seen some other organizations that might choose to make a template for different classes or grade levels. That might be a specific case use that's helpful. So you can certainly make your own templates for different segments.
For sure. And also, one of the things that is helpful is like the specific messaging. If you want to have a drafted message for your board members, so saying, I'm a proud board member of X nonprofit, I've been doing X whatever, and so you can create sort of like a canned message for them to fill it in, if that makes it simpler for you. Another question about creating fundraising pages that kind of pivots off this question is, we love that most will be able to use template options to personalize it on their own, but we would love to be able to support those who aren't tech savvy. Can we create these for them? For example, a board member.
Great question. You can, yes. So you can create a fundraising page for someone who might not be tech savvy at all or have the capability or interest in doing that on their own. There are two ways that you can do that. So where we viewed how to create a fundraising page as an organization, you can create one specifically for someone else. You would do that in the instance where you're creating that for them, you're giving them the link, and then all of the information or automatic emails would come back to your organization. So that's probably the less likely or less option you would use. Not as much, but if someone were literally perhaps didn't have access to a computer or was unable to create that on their own. Alternatively, creating a template and sending that to someone is probably a good idea to kind of empower them to still personalize the page, right? So they can add their interest in your organization or why they're raising money. And so it's empowering them to kind of personalize it. And it also allows them to receive the automatic emails of who is donating to their fundraising page.
Yeah, so what I'm gathering is we want to use the templates and share those with our board members who aren't as tech savvy and encourage them. I encourage for you to do maybe an office hour with your board members or at the next board meeting, just getting them all to do it together. And really, if they need that support, hand-holding them in that way, rather than you creating it, because then they won't have visibility on who's supporting their cause or their champion page on the back end. So templates are new. So I know that in the past we've had to do this sort of creating champion pages and creating new logins for everyone. But the templates are going to help bridge that for us this year. So very, very exciting. Great. I think this one was when just a question if there is a thermometer available on Give Miami Day. There isn't. We don't have a thermometer widget. I think that the thermometer that Mark had on his screen was a designed thermometer. You can always create something like that on Canva if you want to have something that's visual as your campaign is growing throughout the day and just upload it as an image, but we don't have a thermometer. Now, another question. If we create fundraising pages for supporters, can they go in and customize the page, or does it need to be a template in order for them to make the changes? This is a bit nuanced.
Sure. Yeah. So, sorry, were you gonna?
No, go ahead.
Okay. Yeah. So if you want to create the template for an individual, which does give the ability to personalize the page, so they can change any of those things that you're adding to, again, make it more personal, but that's just kind of adding those, maybe that's your branding or a specific message. So they still do have the ability to personalize a template that you're sending out.
Okay, perfect. Now, I think this one has to do with how we're sharing our actual P2P or peer-to-peer fundraising pages on our social media. Are we able to share this champion page via a corporate Facebook page, or does it have to be from a personal Facebook page? And I think this is when you've created your champion page and then now I want to blast this out to my network. Can I do that from a business Facebook? Can I do that from a nonprofit? And how does that work? I mean, from my personal Facebook or from a business Facebook?
Sure, good question. So there's a specific sharing function for the fundraising page that connects with Facebook. Let me confirm and follow up, but I believe that's asking you to connect to whichever account you may want to use. So I'm not aware of any specific restrictions for a business account, but that's a great question. I want to check on that technically and make sure I'm giving you the correct answer. But also in general, if you're sharing something, going to Facebook and logging in, you can always just share that link. And so the specific share function, I think, is maybe what the question is referring to. But
yeah, perfect. Yeah, I don't believe that there is, but we can confirm and include that information. Do the individual supporters need to create a login in order to create a fundraising page? So if I am a champion for True North and I want to create one, do I need to also create a login after I create my champion page, and why?
Great question. So you do need to create a login after creating the fundraising or champion page in order to come back and manage that. So when we walk through the front end, if you go to a nonprofit organization profile and then you click fundraise, all you need to do is create that fundraising page. And then the last step of saving that is going to have you create the account with Raise. It's very simple though, however, but you do need to create that account, a fundraiser does, in order to come back and manage the page.
Yes, and if you participated in Give Miami Day in the past and have actually created a champion page yourself, it's really actually cool to have access to that information, because then you can see who from your network, if I'm posting it on Facebook, and I'm sharing it out with 800 plus friends, you can actually see who's donating to your champion page and supporting your cause and being responsive. You can also thank those who are supporting your champion page. Is that correct?
That is correct, yes. So you can manage who is donating to those pages. You can send them your own kind of thank you within the Raise platform, and that's available to nonprofits as well.
Yeah, so that's actually a really cool feature. You can basically have an easy way to individualize your thank yous. I personally like to also call people. So as a nonprofit, if I'm encouraging my staff or my teammates to help call and thank people, then I will also encourage my champions to make sure that they're thanking their donors, because at the end of the day, it's one community that's supporting your nonprofit. So I think we have a technical question here, Mary, that you can only answer. Can you add HTML or embedded iframes to the page, or is it text only?
To the fundraising page. So that is going to be text only. Usually iframes are blocked for security reasons. You can add the hero image or a video if you want to use that to kind of, as the imagery for the page, but otherwise it is text only on the page itself.
Yeah, and video upload, that's also a new thing. I know that last year we only had a static image on our nonprofit, on our champion pages, because I created champion pages for several of the nonprofits that I wanted to support and have my network, depending on who was interested in education or whatever other category that I was supporting last year, to support there. Last question that I have here, we still have some time if you have other questions or want to know more about how champion pages and templates are working. If a donor is used to giving to multiple organizations at one time on Give Miami Day, can they also do this by giving to multiple champion pages?
Good question. So I might want to follow that up with, so when you ask about a donor giving to champion pages, I want to make sure I understand that from a donor perspective. Certainly a donor, an individual supporter, can give to multiple organizations. They can give to multiple champion pages. Also, a fundraiser who might want to have champion pages for different nonprofit organizations, they can have those as well. So both of those are possible, but let me know if that makes sense on the case use for donors.
Yeah, I think there's two scenarios that come to mind. It's when you're checking out as a donor and you can put multiple nonprofits in your cart, That's one way that you can give to multiple nonprofits. Can one donor give to multiple champion pages in one hit, or do they have to go to different champion pages? That's maybe that kind of nuance.
Oh, I see. Yeah, thank you for rephrasing that. So for a donor who wants to give to multiple champion pages, that would be a scenario where they would complete a transaction for a champion page and then need to go somewhere else for that. I think usually the case use would be if a donor wants to support multiple nonprofit organizations, they can do that directly to the organization in one shopping cart.
Okay. And then I think Jamie is also intrigued by this conversation. So she's asking, can a single champion page support multiple organizations, or do you need an individual champion page per organization?
It is a one-to-one relationship, or one champion page is under the umbrella of one organization, but you can have multiple different champion pages for different organizations.
Right, which is the benefit of actually creating your profile. Once I'm creating a champion page for True North, then I create my profile, and then I can go and create one for KIP Miami, and I can create one for Waterkeeper, and I can create one for another nonprofit. And so there's different sort of avenues. And that's what we were able to do in the past, and you can continue to do that. So you can create multiple champion pages to donate through. You don't have to create champion pages to donate to any nonprofit, but champion pages help you share out the nonprofit's mission to your network on social media, and then they can donate through that. So you can create individual fundraisers for those. A question for Mark. How did you approach parents to create champion pages and become fundraisers for your school? Yeah, Mark, how'd you get 85 plus to commit their time and talent and treasure?
Sure, no. So as I mentioned, we did a launch webinar with a lot of parents, online. I kind of walked them through step by step how to create their own champion page. I also really got my room moms on board, my army of room moms, and kind of took them through separately how to create a champion page, so they could then in turn go out to their parents from their various classes and push champion pages that way. I sent out various emails with screenshots, kind of step by step how to create champion pages, and really pushed it out that way. So I would, say really through those various channels, I got word out on, the importance of creating champion pages for True North.
Wonderful. Yeah. I mean, you hit it right on the head, where you went right to the people who knew we're going to mobilize and catalyze sort of like the campaign for you. And then everyone else sort of like happened to like see the movement. So find your anchor donors, find those who are adamant, who are really passionate, who are volunteering, who are in your doors. Get your board members if you don't have a volunteer mission. Figure out what that anchor point is, and then let it grow from the center of your mission and outward to your community. And it doesn't just have to be donors who can become your champions. Anyone really can create a champion page on behalf of your nonprofit. So just putting out some messaging around creating champion pages is key. We do have something in the works for you. As you know, every single week we're rolling out new collateral and design assets to share. So if you go to campaign resources this week, you will see our one-pager on how to create this champion page. We will have the PowerPoint presentation loaded up there, but that's internal. So make sure that you'll have this easy to share one-pager to communicate out on how to create this peer-to-peer fundraising pages with your potential champions, and then that way you have those there. And then also make sure that you're getting them to share your content from social media, so that they have something that's really easy for them to also share on their Facebook and Instagram and Twitter. So I think that's all we have for Q&A right now, and I just want to make sure that you all are informed and you have everything that you need to know. If you have any questions, please hit us up. Again, in the campaign resources, that we do have a book a meeting link. You can spend some time with me. You can connect with Chelsea. She's on vacation today, so that's why she's not on. But you can also, email us at givemiamiday@miamifoundation.org if you have any questions, and our team will make sure to share with you. And if you have any questions specific to Mary, or Neon One, just go into that support button, and then that way they can answer those for you as well. And anything, our team is always here for you, supporting you. And I'm just loving all the love and the kudos coming in through the chat. I'm so glad this was a benefit to you guys and informative. And so start testing out the champion pages, practice your templates. Don't wait to the very end. You want to make sure you have these up, and your champions can start making their champion pages today, right, Mary? Those are open?
Yes, absolutely.
How exciting. So if you're gonna go and create a champion page right now, play around with it, let me know in the chat for sure. But make sure that you're playing around with those and you're getting comfortable with the templates, and that way you're set up for success when we're ready to hit the ground running, and your champions already know how to do this, so we can troubleshoot anything with you all. Thank you so much. I appreciate your time, and till next time, we'll make sure that we're connecting next week. Next week's training is going to be on loving your donors and engaging with stewardship practices. So make sure you're back to learn more from our partners and peers at Philanthropy Miami, and you'll be learning from Ana Marie Ortega, who is a board chair for City Year, who's magnificent and super energetic. And there's so much to learn from a person who's not only experienced a nonprofit from a donor's perspective, but also as a board member. So much to learn there on how to love your donors and engage with them in that space. Till next time, everyone, have a good one.
Bye, thanks.